Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you will hit the subscribe button and stay with me. And if you are a subscriber already, thank you so much for your support. It is truly appreciated. So, as someone that suffers with PTSD pretty severely, I wanted to get this book. I put it off for a while because I wanted to take a look at the book before I put that much money into the book. I also got the deck, but I really felt like that I needed the book, having post-traumatic stress disorder, to go with the deck. So I did go into a bookstore that had the book, and I sat down and I looked through the book. Tarot for the Wild Soul, which this is a trauma-informed approach for growth, healing, and grounding in the present moment. It is by Lindsay Mack. I honestly had never heard of Lindsay Mack until this came out, and I did hear other creators on TarotTube singing her praises, talking about how good she was, and some of the tarot tubers had taken her tarot course, and so she has a podcast as well and does retreats. And here's some information on her. Lindsay Mack, they, them, is an intuitive tarot teacher, writer, and founder of Tarot for the Wild Soul, as well as the host of the popular podcast of the same name. Through their beloved workshops, retreats, and online tarot courses, Lindsay has had the profound honor of teaching soul tarot to many tens of thousands of students from all around the world. As a queer, neurodivergent, and now joyful survivor of childhood abuse living with complex PTSD and chronic pain, Lindsay is passionately dedicated to honoring and helping to bring space, light, and healing to those who are experiencing mental, emotional, or physical suffering. So let's take a look at the contents. So we have the introduction, which is her story. I want to read the entire book and work with the cards before I give a review on what I think about them as someone who has PTSD. So it'll probably be a while before I come on here, but I just did want to show you the book and go through a walkthrough of the cards. I have already gotten halfway through the book. And I want to finish the entire book before I say anything, really. So we have part 1, the foundations of soul tarot, what it is, the pillars and the bones. And then we have part 2, rewilding the tarot, a spiral journey through the cards. Now I do want you to know this, because the cards, like, she takes the Fool, the Magician, the Page of Wands, and the Aces, and they are the seed cards, which are cards for new beginnings. And I don't know how I feel about that yet because I have not worked with cards. And then with chapter 5, the Moon Within, which is for intuitive reclamation. She takes the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Twos. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's different cards for different things. We have When You're on a Journey, the transition cards. Rest After Journey, which is the integration seasons. The Waiting Room, tarot cards for liminal seasons and unclear times. Chapter 9, When We're Blossoming, tarot cards for creation seasons. And then we have chapter 10, The Center of the Cyclone, tarot cards for self-doubt and contradiction. And chapter 11, When You're in Hell. Chapter 12, Living on Spiral Time. Chapter 13, Closing the Circle, which would be completion and new cycles. And then we get into part 3, Reading Soul Tarot for Yourself and Others, a comprehensive guide to practicing soul-led tarot, which you get a lot of different spreads, and in closing, a prayer for parting and acknowledgements, and the index. I guess you would have to go to the chapters, because here we have the Fool, the Magician, the Page of Wands, and the Aces, and then go find, like, here's the Aces. Here we have the Moon Within, which is the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Twos. Anyway, let's kind of go through the book so you'll know a little bit about it. She talks about there are no bad or good cards in the tarot. All cards bring medicine. And I like what she said here. The present moment is all there is, and the present moment is where tarot shines more brightly. What is needed right here, right now. Each card that we pull is an invitation, and I do like that as well. The pressure for tarot readers to be psychic and tell the future is enormous, and that not all tarot readers are psychic, nor do they need to be. It's like you can read the tarot and know the structure of the tarot and read tarot cards without predicting the future or telling you when you're going to meet somebody, or if you're going to get married, or there may be people that can do that, but I can't. She just has a lot of really good points in it. I put a little star beside this. So there is no windfall card, no soulmate card, no disaster card, no harmony card. No tarot card can be predictive of any one person's feeling state. Either I wish that the Sun card automatically brought happiness, or that the Ten of Cups hand-delivered our deepest wishes. I don't say this to burst anyone's bubble, but to gently draw attention to the degree of shorthand assumptions that have been collectively placed on certain tarot cards. If we aren't careful, this shallow, less complex way of considering the cards can become a tarot reader's whole framework for reading. It might seem like a smart way to work with the cards, but it doesn't yield to consistently accurate readings. Which I agree with that. It doesn't for me. I have a lot of chaos and stuff going on. I wouldn't say chaos. I have a lot of things that are hard in my life right now. A lot of grief. And yeah, just pulling the Sun card for the day, or the Ten of Cups. I can't read it like that. I have to read it. And I had figured this part out on my own, is I have to read it as like the Sun card. What can I do today to shine? Or how can I get through this day the best I can in the light, or something like that. So now that was me talking, but I did agree with what she said there. She gives key takeaways. She talks about the major arcana being the macroism and the minor the microism, which most of us knew, and the court cards are wise teachers within. We work best with these cards' energies when we embody them, imagining ourselves literally meshing with them and having them show us the way forward. Which I do like that too. And I like rewilding. And she talks about the term for rewilding refers to a form of ecological restoration in which the emphasis is on humans stepping back and returning to an area of nature. So, what I do think many of us desperately crave is a framework that gives us permission to think beyond the collective assumptions and traditional perceptions that have been placed on the tarot. This, in essence, the helping hand that folks at Rewilding Europe speak about. It is the removal of blocks and dams that enable our own wild and glorious knowing to begin to flourish, apply to our tarot practice. This book is a gentle invitation to begin sensing into some different ways of reclaiming that knowing. And that'll give you a little bit of a taste of kind of what this is about. And so far, what I read, I think it'll be very helpful. Okay, let's take a look at the cards now. The Soul Tarot, a deck and guidebook for healing and self-discovery. You can get the cards, and you don't have to have the book. I just wanted the book because I do have, I'm always looking for help for my post-traumatic stress disorder. And anyway, I hope it helps with the tarot. So, the guidebook is by Lindsay Mack, illustrated by Chelsea Granger. And here we have the introduction, how to use the deck, the Soul Tarot prompts and spreads, the tarot anchoring, and the major arcana. The minor arcana, the cups, the swords, the pentacles, the court cards, the knights, the queens, and the kings. And we get an introduction. How to use the deck. What is Soul Tarot? She talks about it being a system for folks who desire to learn to read tarot from a soul-centered, inclusive, trauma-informed, non-predictive, evolutionary perspective rooted in common sense and critical thinking. It's an invitation to learn how to read tarot for anything that arises, to show up to our decks in the present moment and engage with them as integral helping tools in moments of uncertainty, chronic pain, or grief. How to work with the cards. Cleansing or clearing the deck. The drop-in. Reading tarot for yourself. Reading for other people. Soul Tarot prompts and spreads. And then it goes into the major. And then it starts with the Fool, and we get this little paragraph. That's one reason I wanted to get the book. I wanted a lot more information. So we get a little paragraph for the Fool, and we get that reversed. And it's pretty much the same thing all the way through. And some seem to have bigger paragraphs. And it gives you, it talks about each element. And that is the book. Let's see. This is the box. There was a box within a box, and I removed the little tuck box because I don't like little tuck boxes. And I think this holds it good enough. These are the backs. And I did edge it. They did not come like this. They came white. But that is just the ritual that I do. And you can tell where they've got a little, but stuff like that really don't bother me. Anyway, so here we have the Fool, which would be the seed. Here we have the Magician. So it's growing. We have a little magic there going on. And here we have the High Priestess, which this is a beautiful card, I think, for the High Priestess. It's got almost in this cave with the different moon phases, and it looks like the ocean outside the cave. We have the Empress. We have the honeycomb, the pomegranate, the fruit, all the abundance there. We have the Emperor, which is, I would say, a big whale. Or it could be the big structured mountain in the back. We have the Hierophant. I do like this for the Hierophant. I love it. I like the Lover's card as well. This tree reflecting into the water. If you'll notice, the reflection has leaves, and up here it's bare. And for the Chariot, we have a little chick coming out of an egg, making its way out. For Strength, we have the Mouse and the Owl. And for the Lantern, the Hermit, we have the Lantern. And I do remember her talking in the book about the Hermit's lantern. I do remember that part about how it's not like this huge, big bright light. A lantern is just enough to kind of see where you're going, like you're holding it at your feet where you're walking, or you could hold it up and see out a little piece. The Wheel of Fortune, it's this little fox. Justice, the tethered one instead of the hanged man. Death, Temperance. I do like this Devil very much, with the pliers breaking the chain. And the peace dove, I think that's a dove. And it looks like this looks like fire to me in this kind of gray sky. The tower. The moon. Beautiful moon. I think the artwork's great. The star. The sun. Judgment. The world. Our Ouroboros. The rainbow. And this is what's on the back of the card. I feel like, I don't know if that shows up more than once. I just now noticed that. Like I said, I have not worked with cards yet. I wanted to get through the book. The Ace of Wands. The Two of Wands. Yeah, I'm really anxious to see how the cards work. I do love this Three of Wands. We have the bridge here. It looks like a fire. And then this part of the bridge is gone. The Four of Wands. Looks like fireflies in the jar. And some raspberries there. The Five of Wands. Some of them are pippish. The Six of Wands. The Seven of Wands. This one's very interesting too. I'm anxious to see what the book says about that. The Eight of Wands. The Nine of Wands, which is also very different. Interesting. And the Ten of Wands. I wonder if they put their burden in the water to let it float away. The Page of Wands. Yes, no, pause, tend. The Knight of Wands. The Queen of Wands, which I think this is very fitting. I think the Queen of Wands, out of all the queens, I think the Queen of Wands is the most witchy, the most witchiest. Or gives the witch vibes. The King of Wands. I really like this. Volcano. The Ace of Cups. Got a little bit of water there dripping in off a leaf. I find that to be extremely interesting. The Two of Cups. This looks like it's pouring into a broken cup. Which, yeah, very, very interesting in here. Okay, yeah, so we have a few of these. I wonder if this is the rewilding she's talking about. Three of Cups. The Four. And some of the cards I've got to in the book and some of them I haven't. I do remember this one she's talking about, and this one that it looks like 1, 2, 3, that 4, I mean 1, 2, 3, the Three of the Cups, that maybe the sloths already had their fill and they don't even need this cup. Maybe saying no is a good thing. Not get the cup. This Five of Cups, which I really like too, with the candles. The Six. 7. 8. It's very interesting too. The 9. The 10. Little rainbows. The Page. Very pretty. The Knight, the lighthouse there, and the Storm, the Queen, the Seal, and the King, the Rainbow, filling up the well, And we have the Ace of Swords here. The Two of Swords. I really like this Two of Swords. It's almost like inviting you in to come and sit. I think that's what the cards are supposed to do, maybe. The Three of Swords here. The heart's got some band-aids on it, and it's some bandages on it, and some band-aids. The Four. Under her wing, or under his wing. The Five of Swords. Oh, the tree split. The little nest is on the ground. The Six of Swords. The Seven. He's taking the keys, but they're tied. Or maybe it'll go through real easy. I'm not sure. The Eight. The caged bird with the door open. The Nine. All those eyes shining in the dark, but there's a flashlight. The Ten of Swords. Being kicked out of the nest there. Page of Swords. This is cute. Little horse trying to stand up. Love this Knight. That is a deep dive there. The Queen of Swords, which this would make me think of when I first saw it. I thought, I don't know if that gives Queen of Swords energy or not. And then I sit with it for a while, and I'm like, boundaries, which would be Queen of Swords energy. And I do love this King, because we know I love wolves. I have a tattoo almost like this on my leg. The Ace of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles. I'm not sure what kind of plant that is. Or it's some sort of flower. The Three of Pentacles. The Four. But it was very interesting. The Five of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles. Those strawberries. And they're not ripe yet. The Eight of Pentacles. I love this for the Eight of Pentacles. Starting out as a little egg, and then turning into a tadpole, and then I think that's pretty cool there. The Nine of Pentacles. That does look like somewhere where I would like to be sitting. The Ten of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles. I like that too. The Knight of Pentacles, a little snail. The Queen of Pentacles. I think this is sweet. I love this card. This is definitely on point for Queen of Pentacles energy. And the King. Now, I haven't shuffled these yet because I haven't used them, but I'm going to shuffle them. We're going to draw a card, and I'm going to read from the little guidebook, and then I'm going to pause it and try to find it in the big guidebook. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pause it and shuffle them. We're going to pull one and do what am I being invited to pay attention to, which was one of her one card spreads. So what am I being invited to pay attention to? And I'm going to pull this one. And let's see what we have. So we have the King of Cups. Zoom in so you can look at it. I'm going to read it in the little book, and then I'm going to find it in the big book. So the King of Cups. Okay, so here's what we have for the King of Cups. So the King of Cups is a helper, a healer, a space holder, and tender of hearts. an indication and a reminder that these gifts live within you. When this card shows up for us in a reading, however, it is less about our identity or embodiment of these qualities and much more about how we're being tended to as a space holders. It is a gift to have the privilege of taking care of others and holding space, but it requires an immense amount of energy. This card is a sacred reminder to pour back into your well as you are best able to do so. Okay, so it's pouring back into your well. So let's see. I'm going to turn it off or pause it so I can find it in this book. Here we go. Filling the well with the King of Cups. In Soul Tarot, we look to the kings as our contributors, offering something to the world of themselves, longing to leave a legacy of good. King of Cups is a deep symbol of the spirit of healership or healership in the world. This card holds space, listens, gives of themselves, and has that deep call into service that cannot ultimately be taught or enforced. It exudes from their very heart and soul. The King of Cups qualities exist in all of us and take form in an infinite number of ways. We might feel centered in our King of Cupness when we parent our children, hold space for clients, patients, students, or show up as caretakers in some way. In fact, the presence of the King of Cups in a reading isn't really an indication that we're being awakened to healing gifts that may exist within us. It can be, but it isn't a consistent reason that this card shows up. In my experience, King of Cups tends to affirm the fact of our helpership is undeniable, a given. Its main point of concern is how we're caring for ourselves as we continue to be of service or be present for others. When King of Cups shows up in a reading, it is an invitation to refill the proverbial well, to ideally drink from our own cup for each one we offer to another person. When that well starts to get a little low, this card will present itself in our lives in some way. It is impossible to move through cycles with the Death and Temperance cards without making contact with King of Cups, even if it never physically shows up in a reading for us. Laying things down on the compost pile, moving through spiritual rebirths, and engaging in creation seasons will all draw from our inner reserves. To channel inspiration and creation through us, we need fuel in the tank. That's what the King of Cups focuses on when it shows up in a reading. Anyway, let me know what you think about this deck. After reading that, I totally resonated with this card. So that is the book and that is the deck. So peace out, my friends. Love you guys.